Hey programmers, today we're taking a look at the MA3's tree structure of grouping fixtures, parent fixtures, and subfixtures. If you've been reading the release notes, then you already know that there's new selection orders and syntaxes that we have to use. And I know that most of us are already grandMA2 programmers and we're used to keying in selections in a certain way. Well, get ready to learn a new way. If you're like me, yeah, it can be a little frustrating at first, but I'm going to take you through it in a way that I think will help you understand it a little easier. And I've got lots of examples. So first, let's review grouping fixtures and what they can do in the fixture sheet and talk about when and how to use those up and down keys. We already talked about the folding tree structure style of the MA3 when we looked at grouping fixtures in the patch. We were able to nest fixtures within a grouping fixture so that they became the children. In the demo show file, take a look at Grouping Fixture 102 and unfold it so that we can see it is the parent to the individual LED steps, fixtures 21 through 24. The idea here is that if I typed in Fixture 102 and then changed an attribute on the encoder, that change would be applied to all of his children. If I wanted to affect just one of these steps, I could of course just key in that fixture's number and go from there, but what I want you to notice here is about selections. If you start with that grouping fixture 102 and hit next, we jump to fixture 201 instead of cycling through my individual steps. In this example, the reason that is happening is because of how these units are numbered. Next takes me to the next whole number chronologically, in this case, 201. But if I had numbered my steps as 103 through 106, then next would have cycled me through the individual steps. So one option I do have is to keep my numbering chronological when using grouping fixtures, but that might not always be possible. There is another tool we can use here, and that's the up and down keys. Right now, with Grouping Fixture 102 selected, if I hit down, the console will drop me down a level in hierarchy from the grouping parent down to its child fixtures. At the moment, all of them are selected, but I can use Next and Previous on this level to change my selection between the individual units. If I want to go back up to the parent, I use the Up key. Something that's a little subtle here is that up and down are only changing the level of hierarchy that you could be selecting. Did you notice the color of the grouping fixture here? It ain't yellow. Technically, it isn't selected. I can turn my wheels now and nothing's going to happen. But since I'm up on this parent level, if I now hit set, the fixture turns yellow and I'm back in business. Let's try this again. With the parent selected, hit down, and I've got all of my children selected. I could next through and select one at a time, but this time I'm going to hit set before I move back up a level. So now when I hit up, I not only move up a level, but my parent is also selected. Yeah, like I said, it's subtle, but for me, understanding that not so obvious stuff makes understanding the console's logic maybe a little easier. That example was a grouping fixture that acted as the parent to some of our individual fixtures. That multi-level scenario also exists when you have fixtures with multiple instances. For example, an LED strip that has multiple cells. And you could place those multi-instance fixtures into grouping fixtures as well. The up and down rules still apply, and the next and previous, well, it gets interesting. For our example today, I've added in 4 X4 bar 20s, and I've placed 2 of them inside a grouping fixture called Stage Right X4 bars, and the other 2 in a grouping fixture called Stage Left X4 bars. I've selected the grouping fixtures, so when I next and previous, I stay at the grouping fixture level, and I could choose to affect all of the children fixtures if I wanted to this way. Now let's say that we want to go down one level to work with our children. So if I hit down, now I've got the parents of all 4 of my X4 bars selected. That means with this selection, I could do something like tilt them all or change overall intensity, but I'm not yet working with my individual cells one at a time. Before we use the down key to get down to the level of our cells, take a look at what next and previous are doing here. They're toggling me between the 2 parent fixtures in my stage right group and then the 2 parent fixtures in my stage left group instead of grabbing them one at a time. If I hit down again, then I'm now looking at controlling my individual cells, but the same thing happens when I hit next or previous. I'm still going back and forth between the cells in my stage right grouping fixture and the cells in my stage left grouping fixture. This time, to do things a little differently, I'm going to select fixtures 51 through 54 instead of selecting the grouping fixtures. The grouping fixtures still show up in the fixture sheet, but remember I keyed in 51 through 54, so there's going to be a difference when I use next and previous. Right now, my next will cycle me individually through the parent fixtures one at a time instead of cycling between the stage right and the stage left grouping fixtures. Also, if I go down a level, same thing is true. I can next through the groups of cells of each fixture, ignoring whether they're in a grouping fixture or not. But I am still not able to use next to cycle through each cell one at a time. Let's clear out and grab only one of my X4 bars. Say I typed in fixture 51, then hit down to select my cells. If I then hit next, I would be cycling through this selection only and selecting one cell at a time. So what if you want to make selections that are really specific and also don't force you to move between grouping fixtures when you're using next and previous? Sure, you could touch the fixtures that you want in your fixture sheet or lasso them in the layout, but it can be time consuming, especially if you have a large rig, and it's also really easy to make a mistake in your selection order. I want to be able to key this sort of thing in, and we can. It's just that there's some new syntaxes and some new concepts that we have to wrap our heads around first. Remember when we typed in fixture 51, please? In the fixture sheet, the parent fixture of 51 was selected, and if I wanted to get down into the child fixtures of the cells, I would have to hit down before I could next through each one. Let me clear out, and this time I'm going to select fixture 51 dot please. Now we can see that the parent and all of the subfixtures are yellow and in the selection, so I can next through each part of this fixture without having to use the down or up keys. If I wanted all parents and subfixtures of fixture 51 and 52, the inclination might be to type 51 dot plus 52 dot, but look at the command line. Even though I typed 51 dot, as soon as I hit that plus key, that first dot is erased, and my actual command line is 51 plus 52 dot please. See, the dot is actually dropping us down a level in selection. In the case of 51 plus 52 dot please, the dot will be applied relative to everybody in the first level of selection. Here's another example. If I try to type 51 dot through 53 dot, the console wouldn't understand me. To our human brains, it looks like I'm trying to select all the parent and subfixtures of units 51 through 53. But to the console, this is like saying I want all of fixture 51 subfixtures through subfixture 53 and then all of 53 subfixtures, none of which exist, so it doesn't work. The way the console wants to see this is with the hierarchy of all the parent fixture numbers before the dot. So the way we would type it in is 51 through 53 dot, please. And we use this same style to select individual cell numbers. For example, type 51.1 please, and I get just that cell. But what if I wanted the first 5 cells? Don't type 51.1 through 51.5. Remember, we want to keep the parent fixture separated from the subfixtures with that single dot. We want to type 51.1 through 5, please. If I wanted the first 5 cells of all 4 of my X4 bars, I would type 51 through 54.1 through 5, please. So upper level selections first, then the dot, then the subfixture selections. Got it that far? That was an example with just 2 levels, a parent fixture and subfixtures. But you could have more than 2 levels. A level above that parent fixture could be the grouping fixture, or you could have a fixture that has a parent fixture and then a subfixture, and then that subfixture might have subfixtures. That means you might end up with some syntaxes that have more than one dot in the selection, or you might be making sub-selections followed by a selection that's higher in the hierarchy. When that happens, you need to add the fixture key into your syntax. Here's the first example. I want the parent fixture of unit 51 along with the first 5 cells. We already know that we can type in 51.1 through 5 to get the first 5 cells, but typing 51 plus 51.1 through 5 is not going to add in that additional parent fixture. If we want to be able to select on 2 levels of hierarchy using the dot key, then we need to separate each level with the fixture key. In this case, I would type 51 plus fixture 51.1 through 5. If I wanted the first parent and then the first 5 cells of all 4 of my units, I have a couple of options. The short way would be to type 51 through 54 plus fixture 51 through 54.1 through 5, please. That gives me control of all of the fixtures and subfixtures that I wanted, but remember that selection order is still applied. That means when I next through, I first cycle through the parent fixtures, then I cycle through all the subfixtures. It's okay, but selection order is everything, especially when we start getting into matrix and phasors. So what if I wanted these same units selected, but I want them in the order of first fixture 51's parent fixture, then 51's subfixtures 1 through 5, then fixture 52's parent fixture, followed by 52's subfixtures 1 through 5, and so on? Well, I have to select them in that order. I could type 51 plus fixture 51.1 through 5 plus fixture 52 plus fixture 52.1 through 5 plus fixture 53 plus fixture 53.1 through 5 plus fixture 54 plus fixture 54.1 through 5. Okay, that was long, but if I next through, I'm now going in order. In this example, we could make our syntax ever so slightly shorter when selecting our subfixtures. Because I want a group of cells that start with the first cell, I could type something like 51 plus fixture 51 dot through 5, just eliminating the 1, and the console will select the subfixture starting at the lowest number up through 5. If you use a through and don't specify the start number, the console will assume the lowest possible number. Same thing goes at the other end. If I said fixture 51 plus fixture 51.10 through, please, I would get the parent fixture 51 along with the subfixtures 10 through 20, because 20 is at the end. I know it's something that we have to get used to, but I promise that the more you use it, the more it's going to become second nature. If you have time this week, work with some multi-instance fixtures in your show file and practice with the selection syntax. Next week, we'll use it when we're making groups. See you then.